The number one reason clients leave an agency is poor results from marketing. Unfortunately, I am not the guy to help with that. But the number two reason clients leave, that I can help with. What's up? What's up? My name is Landon. I am the lead software engineer behind Scanner. I've personally been working with digital agencies, web agencies, and managed hosting companies for the past 7+ or minus years. By the end of this video, you will have the tools and frameworks to plug your leaky bucket, retain more customers, and make more money. Boom, let's go. I'm going to start by obviously defining the problem. What is the number two reason why clients leave and why it's super fixable? Then we'll walk through a quick little framework that I am personally quite proud of. I'll also show you how to implement the framework with $0. Super easy, only takes some good old work. All right, let's get into it before you click to another video. So the number two reason clients leave, here it is. They feel that their site is broken. Now, obviously I'm using broken as a broad term here. This includes problems with performance, visual inaccuracies that the customer is not expecting, broken forms, which leads to lost revenue for your clients. Just generally not working as expected. So this next bullet over here is crazy. Over 70% of agencies don't have a reliable, repeatable process to catch these broken sites, meaning there's no formal process other than you just like looking at it to ensure that your clients' websites are happy, healthy, and functioning as expected. So if this sounds like you're not alone. And this might seem obvious, but the natural progression goes something like this. More broken websites gives you more support requests, which means less time to take on new clients, which means more lost revenue and probably client churn from those broken websites. Again, very bad. So that is the problem. And here is how we fix it. This is what I call the testing triad. And here's how it's going to help you. Number one, it will give you the framework to create a new productized service that you can have as an add-on or an upsell to your clients. By the way, I did a video on add-ons and upsells specifically for agencies and why they're important, how you can implement them. And I'll link that somewhere. I don't know where, but I'll have it linked. So go check that out for a more detailed explanation. Number two, it helps you get ahead of any issues with your clients' websites, meaning that they're not coming to you, you're going to them. If you do incorporate this as a new productized service, an add-on or an upsell, this will provide peace of mind to your clients. And peace of mind does what? Adds referrals. So the more that your clients feel like you're taking care of them, you're doing something to proactively take care of their website, the more apt they are to give you a referral. It should also just by default, it should also add revenue to your bottom line. Even if you don't have it as an upsell or an add-on, just purely by reducing client churn and reducing the amount of support requests. So it should save you time if implemented correctly. So over here, this is the actual framework, obviously. So we've got performance, structural, and functional. So these are the three components involved in this actual testing framework. There are three specific categories that we're testing per each website. And when we do it correctly, when we implement the system correctly, the end result is just like I was saying with this list on the other side here, it's increased revenue. So that's why revenue is at the center of this triangle. Hopefully you like it. It's a cute little visual. I like it. I think it's cute, so please don't hurt my feelings. Okay, moving on. Okay, so let's break down the testing triad and go through some examples. First up, we have performance. Now, performance is, again, a very broad term that encapsulates a bunch of different metrics. Things like load times, accessibility, file and code optimization, just a bunch of stuff. Honestly, I'll probably do an entire video on just web performance and all the details and intricacies that go into it. Right now, just understand it as a series of scores and metrics that you want to monitor over time. The two free open source tools we're going to be taking a look at and using here, Google PageSpeed Insights and Yellow Lab tools. So let's take a look at both of these. Cool. Now I'll have all the links for all this stuff somewhere, so you're not gonna have to like Google and all this stuff. So first up, PageSpeed Insights. All you do is literally just enter a URL. So let's do example.com. Boom. That went really, really fast. Sometimes it takes a lot longer. So let's come back to this and go on to Yellow Lab. Okay, so same deal as PageSpeed. All you do, enter the website that you want to actually scan. Cool. All right, so the test is running. Let's go back to PageSpeed Insights. Cool. Okay, so all the data is here. Let's scroll down. These are the high-level scores that you're going to want to make note of and probably record it in a spreadsheet. I would definitely record the date when you actually ran this scan. There's a whole lot of information here. Like I said, I was talking about just web performance in general. We'll do a deep dive on it some other time, but for right now, just record the scores, put them in a spreadsheet, save them. And these are the things that you'll be comparing over time. All right, back to Yellow Lab. Here we go. Cool, so this one's done too. Again, this has a lot of information here. You can go through each one of these things, click on them, see what it says. By the way, all these are free, so you don't have to pay for them. Open source tools. So up here at the top, this is the main thing you want to grab. It's the global score, so it's pretty much like the average of all the different components and audits that it ran. Record that score in addition to the other scores from PageSpeed in a spreadsheet, documented with the date. Make sure you grab the date. And that will be it for performance. Those are like the two things that I'd recommend making sure you grab, before and after you run an update of a website. Okay, so that was performance. Moving on to the second method in the testing triad here, the second component, Structural testing. This is something you've probably never heard before, and that's probably because we came up with it at Scanner, and we're horrible at marketing, so yeah, that's probably why. Anyway, so structural testing is ensuring that no structural part of the website, whether that's the HTML or the visual rendering, changed in a way that we did not expect. Now, how in the world do you do that? So glad you asked. Now, you may or may not have heard of visual regression testing. That's actually pretty common in the web development world, and that's pretty much just ensuring that a screenshot of a website didn't change. So like you're measuring the mathematical similarity of the two screenshots. So that one kind of makes sense, but the underlying mechanism that's creating those renderings is the HTML. So anyway, so structural testing is actually combining these two things. It's combining the HTML regression testing and the visual regression testing. So let's start with the HTML regression first. Okay, so to do this, obviously you need to grab the website's HTML. It's super easy. All you do, you can just do a right click and then go view page source if you're on Chrome. Boom, and then it opens up in a new tab, the HTML that's rendered on the client for that website. Cool, and then you just copy the whole thing, save it as a text file, and you're good to go. So it's important to know that this will be your baseline. So like we just did with the performance metrics, when you grab them, you like record the date that you actually grabbed the metrics, ran the scan. The same thing here. So make sure you date the file when it was created. So that you can reference back and be like, hey, at this date, before we ran this update, this is how the HTML looked. Okay, so now let's imagine that we did run a plugin update and it's been a few days. We have our baseline, and now we're going to do the exact same process and grab the HTML that's rendered after the plugin. And we're going to compare them to make sure that there's been no change that we didn't expect. And of course, no one wants to do this manually. No one wants to sit there and comb through HTML and say like, oh, we're missing a span tag there. That's wrong. No, of course not. Instead, we're going to do this using an automated free tool again called Text Compare. Really, really simple. All you do is grab the two files, the baseline and the one that you just took after the plugin update, paste each of them in here just like this, paste, boom, paste, boom. Let's say that's gone. Cool. And we compare them. Boom. So this will show you right here. That specific line, that's the thing that changed, right? This is the structural testing for specifically HTML. So we're done with that. Let's move on to visual testing. So again, like I said before, the reason that we do two methods in structural testing instead of just visual regression testing is to kind of cover our bases, because in some instances, there might be something visually that shows up that didn't really show up in the HTML because perhaps the CSS rendering didn't actually display in the HTML. It changed it from a different file. So that's possible, that happens. So you want to make sure that you cover both bases. Anyway, so how do we implement this actual visual component here? It's pretty simple, actually. All we're doing is taking screenshots using the browser, pretty much doing like a print screen, and then we're going to compare before and after, same process that we did with the HTML. Super simple. So like I said, I would use Chrome's print screen. The reason for that is for consistency. It's really hard if you're going to like do a drag snipping tool of the actual website. It's really hard to do that. And there's no way to like scroll and do that, or otherwise you're going to end up with like a bunch of different pages or like screenshots that you're going to have to like mush together. It's really weird. Anyway, here's what I would do instead. All you're going to do is print. Great. You're going to save it as a PDF, go to advanced settings, and then scroll down here. There's some options here where you can include the background graphics. So I think by default it's not on. So if it's not on, it won't show some of the actual CSS rendering, so it won't change some of the colors that you would expect. So click that. It should display things as you would expect to see for your website. It may not have everything correct, but at least it will be consistent between screenshots or between these PDF renderings, okay? Cool, so let's save that. Okay, and you'll also want to convert these PDFs here as a probably JPEG, or it doesn't matter, PNG, it really doesn't matter. Anyway, you want to export it as an actual image. Cool, okay, we've got our screenshots, we've converted them to images. Now we're going to compare them. And again, not manually with our eyes, that would take too long. We're not very good at it as humans. Instead, we're going to use a free tool called m2go.com, compare image. I'll have the link, so don't worry. Anyway, all you do, upload your files. There is our first file, add the other file. Great, you start. Cool, and then if there are any differences, it will have them shown up here on the left. And if you scroll down here, you've got something called the percent difference. Cool, so instead of using your eyes to visually check, now you have an actual objective percent difference. So that is the score I would go with to compare the two images. Super easy, like I said, totally free. Okay, structural testing is done. Now we're moving on to the last component here, functional testing. So functional testing is actually what it sounds like. It's testing the functionality of the website, which includes navigation. So like clicking on nav links and making sure they go where you expect them to go, filling out forms, clicking on buttons, like how you interact with it as a human. This is making sure that that works. So if it sounds straightforward, it is. And of course you can do this yourself by just like going to the website, clicking around, making sure stuff works. But I'm going to actually show you a way to do this in a repeatable process that you can record your test. You can record yourself doing this once and then play it back over and over again. So you can record yourself filling out a form, save it. Whenever you've made a change or done a plugin update, like I say a week later, you can come back, run this same test without actually having to manually go around and click. Super nice. So here we go. Cool. So let's use scanner.io as our example website to do this functional testing, namely because this is the company I work for and it's fine if we click on the website. I'm not going to make anyone mad. Cool. So I'm going to scroll down here to where we have this little form where you can run a health scan of any website, doesn't really matter. And I want to make sure that this form works and there aren't any bugs before or after an update. So to record my clicks to start this process, all I'm going to do is right click, scroll down to inspect. Great. It's going to pop up Chrome DevTools. So if you see these little chevrons over here, you click on that. There should be a tab that has recorder on it. So we're going to click recorder. Essentially, this is a tool built into the Chrome DevTools, built into Chrome itself. And it will monitor all the events that happen on the website as you're enacting on it. So whenever you click on something, it'll record it. And basically what it's going to do is create a list of everything that we just did, and then it's going to let us play it back and automate it itself. So Chrome will be clicking itself. Cool. So let's just go down here. I don't have any prior recordings, so we're going to create new recording, name it whatever you want, doesn't matter. Boom, start recording. All right. So we go back to our web page that we're recording on. All right, so all we do, you can already see over here that it noticed a click. So when we clicked on that element, so one more click, boom, and we want to enter a website. Let's enter example. Boom. All right. Scan site now and go. Great. So that worked. This is our tool, so it's running its audit and everything. Great. So really that's it. Now we want to end this recording. Boom. Great. So it's done. And actually I'm going to navigate back here and clear everything out. Let's just refresh the page. Cool. So if you come back to Chrome DevTools, like I was saying, there's a lot of information here. If you open up one of these little tabs, it'll show you more information than you probably want to see. So if it scares you, just close it. It's fine. You don't need it. But the big thing here is the replay button. So once you've recorded your test, once you've stopped it, if you want to see if it works, all you do is click replay. So now Chrome is being automated and boom, just like that, it's done. Literally just like it just automated everything. I wasn't touching anything. So that was a functional test. That was Chrome repeating what I had just done to make sure that it still works. So you can do that with any of your websites. Doesn't matter. It's totally free. And like I said, it saves it in Chrome, so you don't have to save them yourself. Great. So it's also worth noting that there are other tools that you can use besides Chrome DevTools, or the Chrome Recorder, I guess is what it actually is. So if you're a developer or you know how to code even a little bit, you can use Selenium, Puppeteer, Playwright. Unless you're a developer, you're probably like, what are these? They're automation software. So essentially, they're libraries. I think Puppeteer and Playwright are only in JavaScript. Selenium is like in JavaScript, Python, Java. Anyway, you can use these tools to create your own tests. You can go super deep, create assertions, grab screenshots, all kinds of stuff, right? So if you're really, really techie and you've never heard of these tools, now you have. Go check them out, go Google them. I just wanted to throw it out there in case there was someone that was super technical that wanted to get into that. So those are free as well. Okay, so that is the basics of the testing triad. We covered performance, structural, and functional testing, and walked through some free tools that you can start implementing in your agency right now. And if all of this seems super overwhelming and just something like you'd rather avoid altogether, Scanner actually does everything that we just covered on autopilot. All you do is just like enter your site URL and it takes it from there. Just saying, no pressure. Remember, engineer, not the sales guy. If you do like content like this, please do consider following or subscribing. I will be putting out weekly content just like this video with actionable frameworks and advice specifically for agency owners. So stay tuned. I think that's what they say. Like my stuff, okay? And until next time.